seconds.
So, Chelsea, when you do your workout with clients, do you work out on stairs at all?
Yes, sometimes.
I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something.
Welcome to the Masterful Morning Show.
Morning.
We're all on the first floor here, I think, in different countries. Oh, you're in the basement. Underground. I don't believe you. There's too much sunshine in your room. Welcome to the Masterful Morning Show. We're here with the wonderful Chelsea Mancini. She is a gut health coach and tarot reader, and I'm so glad that you're here, Chelsea. Thanks for being on the show.
I am so excited to be here.
Awesome. So, Chelsea, one way that I know you very well is that you're in the Monday Morning Mastermind. So, I would love to know, first off, why are you in the Mastermind? What keeps you coming back each week?
Well, a few things. First is that it gets me out of bed on Monday morning. I've, for most of my career, haven't worked on Mondays. And so I'm making the switch to working on Mondays. So it's a great way to start off. And I always leave with like ideas and like, to-dos and lists. And, just 2 weeks ago, our conversation prompted, pretty much the rest of my work for the year. So it's been so exciting, for me, since leaving my job on a team at a gym and working for myself, finding community has just been really important. And so to have found that with the Monday Morning Masterminds and, Sean Croxton's community, it's just been so pivotal and has made it so much easier to keep work going and to really kind of skyrocket my work as quarantine has dragged on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with my self-development journey, one of the things that I really appreciate about becoming friends with you and having you in the mastermind is getting to tap into more of the energetic part of, self-development and kind of the woo-woo stuff. Really, to me, it's woo-woo with like crystals and energy healing. And one of the things that intrigued me on your Instagram one time, a couple times I've seen you do like tarot readings and sharing about the tarot. And so I actually requested a tarot reading, and I got that from your website, and that was the first time that's ever happened. And it was the first time. And when I read the whole thing, first off, I love how well you explain it, like that a beginner can handle, because I don't know what any of these cards mean. And I'm like, I don't know what pentacles are. Like, what does that mean? And one of my cards was the death card. And I definitely was like, what? That's the exact reason why I would probably avoid something like that. But I would love if you could explain like a little bit about the tarot, for people who've never experienced before. And like I told you before this interview started, I reviewed my reading again. It's been like a week or two, I think, since my reading, and now everything makes sense. I'm like, oh, that's what all of that was about, and it wasn't scary at all. So
yeah. The tarot for me, first of all, I love the death card. It's so scary at first, but it just means like, something has to end for something new to begin. But for me, the tarot, I love all the things woo-woo. And so stepping into the tarot, I probably did it about 2 years ago. I don't know, it was something I saw all over the place, just being interested in astrology and crystals. So I was like, let me give it a shot. And I think what kind of scares people about the tarot, people think like we're trying to predict the future, and that's not really what it's about. The tarot is really a tool to reflect what's going on and kind of deep in your subconscious is kind of the best way for me to describe it. And for me, it was really one of the big catalysts for me to leave my job that I was comfortable at to start working on my own, because I knew I wanted to, but, it was flipping the same cards over and over in the tarot, like, new adventures, you have to, the messages that came through that were like, okay, yeah, I guess I just need to actually do this. And, and it's been big in my decision-making really for the last couple years. And I love to see newcomers come and, and get their reading, because they're like, what, like, How do you know? Because the cards just represent these energies that all of us have in our life. You know, the main cards, it just represents a journey from something new to something completion and all the stages in between. And yeah, it just reflects what's going on. It reflects what we're thinking about and brings it to the front of our mind, which, you know, is important, right? In this manifestation work, you know, it's important to have a clear picture. So when you can dig out those things that are back there and bring them to the front and figure out, okay, then now how do I want to address this? It's just killer. It makes all the difference.
That's awesome. I've really over the past few years really embraced more of my woo-woo side. A lot of the people that watch that know me from before, they're like, that I don't know that person, but I really have. So what I love watching, I was just mentioning to you before, I absolutely love watching your Instagram stories. So for those of you watching now, if you're not following her on Instagram, definitely follow her on Instagram and check out her stories. They're just really, really awesome. And so I get to see that some of the newer woo-woo stuff that I haven't been exposed to so much. But also I really love fitness and working out and health and that. So I can hunker down and that's a little bit more of my safe place. But also with that, I have been extremely fortunate in my life. And as far as like gut health, and I can eat anything I want to really and not feel discomfort on a large level. I know it affects me in the long term. But now that I'm getting a little bit older, I don't know if that's why, but I have started noticing here and there some discomfort and some of those issues. I'm like, oh no, but I still kind of hard-headed around that. So someone like me that really hasn't been paying attention to gut health and those kind of issues, what would be like something that you would offer to kind of get my attention to really make me focus on that and help me out a little bit along those lines?
Yeah, totally. So when it comes to gut health, the way our bodies individually express inflammation is highly individual, you know. So for me, whereas it was like gut issues right off the bat, for somebody else, it might be something like anxiety or something that's more of what they struggle with. But the gut is really, it's our second brain. The messages that go back and forth between our brain and our gut, I'll say this, there are more messages that go from our gut to our brain than go from our brain to our gut. So what's going on in the gut really informs our central nervous system and what we're doing. And I think some of the inflammation, the stomach discomfort, those are obvious signs of, you know, the gut needing a little bit of help. But things like anxiety, things like trouble sleeping, things like allergies and sinus issues, those can all also be signs of the gut needing a little bit of help. And oftentimes these issues are chronic, which I think can be a scary word because it's like, but it just means they built up over a long period of time. And so that's why some people notice more of these issues maybe as they get older. And the biggest thing when it comes to gut health, especially if the discomfort hasn't been a super big issue, focusing on stress management and the food you're eating as you're eating it is really the very best thing you can do. Our central nervous system is what tells our body to digest our food, and if we don't digest our food, that's what makes our gut inflamed. And though we might not feel that inflammation by way of bloating, we feel it in other ways, like everything I already mentioned. So simply chewing your food when you eat it is a really, really big one. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice that I give absolutely everybody. Because I know for me back in the day when I had 5 minutes between clients, it was just swallow the food. But chewing is really important so that it doesn't then irritate your gut as it gets there. So chewing your food, drinking your water, and making sure to manage your stress, especially around your meals. When we're eating at the same time as we're doing all the other things, it's going to affect our digestion and it's going to affect our gut. And, you know, our modern day lives, they don't necessarily allow for us to have the healthy digestive systems that we did back in the day when eating was the activity. You know, we went out, we killed things, we gathered things, then we sat down and we ate. And that's just not really how it is anymore. So just paying attention when you're eating your meal will make a big difference when it comes to the health of your gut.
That's very helpful for me. Thank you. I think when you were talking about the stress part of it, that kind of triggered something. Also, I come from with my background and different academies I've gone through, and they forced like short time period. So it was like literally you'd go to eat and they're like 2 minutes and you just wolf it down. So those are both big takeaways for me. So thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Slow down, eat your meal.
I'm just sitting here thinking like Thanksgiving's coming up. That's a stressful time for some people with family and such. So, finding that inner calm, making sure we chew, and that may, help us from overeating our meals. So yeah, that's really great.
Chew your food. Everyone wants the scientific, and I'm just like, chew your food, please.
So simple yet effective. So Chelsea, for those that may have had a gutful, how would you describe your ideal client?
So I love to work with women, especially. I feel like these problems tend to plague women. And I feel like women are also kind of less often likely. I know for me, when I was trying to figure out these issues that I struggled with myself, and I was telling my doctor, like, hey, this is what I'm noticing. Like, drinking this orange sludgy drink isn't going to fix it. Like, there's something else. I feel like we just have a harder time speaking up. And there's so many clients who come to me and they're like, my doctor wouldn't listen. And I'm like, I know, not to knock Western medicine. It's very important. Highly recommend keeping up with your doctor. But I love working with women who know that, they've got a handle. They're like, I eat pretty, I eat pretty good foods. I'm willing to commit, they like a healthy lifestyle, and they just can't get to the bottom of like these annoying things, like the bloating, like skin issues, like up and down energy levels. And they just, we tend to write those things off as normal because so many people struggle with it. They're like, oh yeah, I always tank around 2 p.m. I need the coffee. And that's common. Common doesn't necessarily mean normal. That means there's something deeper going on. So I love to work with women who, they want to have the right habits. They prioritize living a healthy lifestyle, and they just need a little help, putting the puzzle pieces together to figure out what the small things are that they're missing. Because often it is small things. It's tweaks here and there that can be made to, help them feel a world of difference.
Chelsea, I know you have a class, I think, Ban the Bloat. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how people can check that out?
Yes. So Ban the Bloat is my free webinar. We are going live December 15th at 7 p.m. The
What
link
time zone?
will Eastern. I need to get
7
better at
p.m.
saying my
Eastern.
time zone. 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm so excited. So it's a free training. We're going to talk about, some of this stuff. It's about 40 minutes long. I have a 4-step process to banning the bloat, the 4 things you can do immediately without, any crazy stuff, things like chewing your food, things like managing stress. So that's a 40-minute webinar, December 15th, that will be linked on my Instagram and my website.
Yeah, awesome. And we've linked Chelsea's website in the description here, so you can check that out. It's chelseamancini.com. Chelsea, thanks so much for being here. Is there anything else you want to tell our people?
Chew your food and drink your water, and you will be worlds ahead.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Chelsea.
Thank
Thanks,
you, guys.
Chelsea.